Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the Name One Player podcast. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a few weeks now, actually, since I had Sally on last episode. I have been so busy. So busy. In the last episode, I was talking about how I was going to Portugal with my friend Brogan. Ended up being a whole girls' trip that Brogan surprised me with. All of my friends in London surprised me with, which was so unexpected. There's a video of me on my Instagram, I'm just stunned. But it's so fun. Nobody's ever pulled off a surprise like that for me before, so I felt very special and loved. So any of the gals who are listening, thank you for that. That was a trip of a lifetime. I will forever remember it. But let's plan Greece now, because I want to go to Greece too. Yeah, I had a great time. It was nice to get away. I don't know if this happens to anybody else though, but when I come back from a vacation or a holiday, I sometimes I'm pretty sad about it. I'll settle back into my normal daily routine and I'm just kind of like, this sucks. So there was a little bit of that. And then just general low energy. I think I've touched on in previous episodes, and anybody who does know me personally knows that something that I'm not the best at, something that I can work on, is my work-life balance. And this is something that I really struggled with in Canada, working just the craziest hours, not really leaving a lot of time for me, and that resulted in me getting so burnt out that I moved across the world. So a little bit disappointing, I guess is the word. I don't know, that I'm kind of doing the same thing here in London, working crazy hours. I love the job that I have, but I work a lot. So this is kind of why I've said in previous episodes that I really can't commit to a once a week thing. I mean, I would love to. And that's honestly why this is so cool. This podcast is because I love doing this. I honestly don't think I've ever experienced anything that I enjoy doing so much. I'll get home from work after working 12 hours and I'll be exhausted, but I'll want to edit the last podcast episode or something like that. Like when I was skiing for the first episode, I brought my computer with me on holiday, which I typically don't like doing, but I really wanted to get this podcast out for International Women's Day. So I remember I was skiing and having really fun, long, exhausting, but super fun days. And I would go back to my hotel room and I truly just wanted to edit the podcast. It was fun for me. Fun maybe is not the best word because I am finding that editing is kind of a pain in my ass. And I would love to just be rich enough to hire an editor. That would solve all my problems. But big thank you to everyone who's, provided me with your tips on editing, the best platforms to use. Something that I am struggling with is because 99% of my guests are going to be remote, figuring out the best platform to interview people with and then best platform to edit with. But this is only episode 3, so I'm still sorting it out. Thank you to everybody for bearing with me while I sort it out, for coming along on the ride with me while we sort it out together. I truly appreciate it. And again, all of your feedback is so helpful. I was going to say all the positive feedback. To be honest, I haven't really gotten any negative feedback. So if anybody has negative feedback for me too, or constructive criticism, I'll take it. I love it. I can handle it, I promise. Unless you're just being mean for no reason, then. But, I mean, unfortunately, as the whole premise of this podcast shows, I do have a fair amount of experience of men being mean to me online. So I got some thick skin now. But anyways, today's been a really great day though. I said I was a little bit low mood after coming back from Portugal, but today things have turned around. I don't know if there's any astrology girlies listening to the episode. We did have a full moon on, gosh, what day was it? Wednesday? I don't know. Tuesday, maybe? I don't know. There was one day, though, that I stayed in bed for 16 hours. I physically couldn't move. I felt sick. I felt tired. I felt just mentally and physically drained. And I did not get out of bed for 16 hours. But I think it was needed. I am trying to, again, find that balance between listening to my body when I do need rest, but also like not getting to the point where I need to spend 16 hours in bed. But I think it was the moon and the stars and the sun. There was an eclipse. So I don't know if it was solar or lunar. I don't know. But TikTok told me that I would be tired and emotional and mentally drained. And I was. So TikTok has yet to lie to me. I don't know about all of you guys. Feeling a little bit low the last couple of days, but today we're feeling good. The sun is out. It's a lovely day in London. Today's a great day. I got my nails done. I don't know if you can see, a little fresh. It's called ice pink. Ice pink. It's my favorite color. Crazy story. One of my good friends, Kaylin, I was texting her and I went into a coffee shop in an area that I don't live in. And I got a coffee. As I'm texting Kaylin, I look up. Kaylin's in front of me in the line. How crazy is that? Like, she doesn't live in this area either. We're both two people in an area of London that, like, neither of us live in. Kind of close. Like, it wasn't, like, super the middle of nowhere, but, like, that was not our local coffee shop that we go to. So, just super crazy. And that was really nice. And now I get to come back home, sit in the sun, and record a podcast with an incredible guest. I'm so excited to chat with her. So anybody who's listened to the first episode knows that this podcast was inspired by somebody on Twitter named Jules. I still laugh just thinking about the tweet because it's just so ridiculous. But somebody had tweeted a photo of her and was like, oh my God, girls like this are just looking for clout, blah, blah, blah. It's just ridiculous. And women all across every different sports fandom kind of banded together and made fun of this man, posted all these photos of themselves at various sports games. It was amazing. It really was the idea that inspired this podcast. And here we are. And today I'm so excited to have Jules on here with us. I think it's going to be so fun. And we're going to get into it. So, everyone, please say hello to Jules. All right, everyone. So we have with us Jules, the inspiration behind this podcast. Jules, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really tired. Luckily, I took the day off because yesterday was Reds opening day, which is a very, very chaotic thing. Please ignore the cat that is about to come into the screen. Not that anyone hates that. We all want a furry guest make an appearance.
If anybody hates that cat walking in, then they're not allowed to listen to this. So their problem, not ours.
Exactly. Don't be a hater. That's no
exactly
problem.
Right. You know what? Honestly, this might be a controversial take here, but I'm a cat person, personally.
I like cats, but I would say I'm definitely more of a dog person. I really want to get a dog, but it's like I live in an apartment right downtown Cincinnati, right beside the ballpark. I look to my left, and it's Great American Ballpark, and I look to my right, it's Paycor Stadium where the Bengals play. So there's not like, I respect anyone that has a dog in an apartment situation because it's like to take them out or to take them on a walk, you have to go all the way down the elevator downstairs. I'm like, I can't do that right now. And I'm also like never home. I'm at every single Reds game that I could go to. So I would have no time for a dog, but I love them.
Well, speaking of the Reds, I mean, I want to get into, we literally just met like, what, 1 minute ago?
Yes.
I want to know everything about you. I want to know everything about your history with Reds. Also, happy opening day. That was yesterday. I saw your party. It looked absolutely phenomenal. And I know in your podcast, too, you were talking about how the Reds never win on opening day. Congratulations. Congratulations. It must be because of your podcast, I'm sure.
Honestly, I need to, that'd be a good idea because I thought about it. I'm like, I need to make a clip of me saying that and then them finally winning.
Every time. 100%.
Yeah, I've only been to opening day 3 times in person because I didn't originally grow up in Cincinnati. I grew up 2 hours north of Cincinnati, and then I went to college for 4 years, 3 hours away. So
Okay.
wasn't the closest, but I didn't let it stop me by any means. And I've
So
always been crazy.
100%, it was all you and Liv and the Two Girls, One Natty
Oh
podcast.
yeah,
100%.
it's very fun.
Okay, so tell me, I want to hear all about it. Tell me about your history being a Reds fan.
Well, I always tell people that the reason I like the Reds is my dad. He's a big Reds fan, so growing up, he always had them on TV, on the radio. No matter what, if we're driving the pitching practice or softball practice in general, they were always on. Or I took the aux and played One Direction a lot too. But hey, I like baseball. You can like both. So I
100% you can.
yes, I'm a big pop culture and sports girly. So like the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey, my worlds collided. And I'm not a Chiefs.
Yes.
I want to make that clear. I hate the Chiefs. Travis
Yes.
Kelsey is from
Completely agree.
England and went to college
Oh,
at the University of Cincinnati. So there's Ohio roots there, 100%.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, like he went, and I honestly don't think I even knew that until like a few years ago. Yeah, he grew up in Cleveland Heights. And I'm assuming they stay there their whole high school career and everything. I don't know the lore there, but that's from my understanding they did. And then they both went to the University of Cincinnati. So it's awesome. I'm like, so can y'all get Taylor here? They're actually their podcast, they're doing a live audience or taping, whatever you want to call it, in the stadium at UC. So in Cincinnati, like, yeah. And I looked at tickets and I closed my laptop. I was like, I am not spending that kind of money. No offense.
That is
watched
hilarious.
free computer. But
do you think Taylor will ever be a guest on their podcast? I don't. What's it called again? I can't even remember.
The New Heights podcast.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Do you think she'll ever go on it? I honestly hope she doesn't, just to kind of stand firm on it.
Honestly,
no, never.
I think she will
crossover.
That would be the biggest crossover of all time. It already is, but like that would be even bigger. I think allegedly, I don't know, I haven't seen much about it, but the live show here, it says they have a special guest, but I guarantee it's Mama Kelsey. There's no way here.
It's Taylor Swift.
I have to look at her tour schedule because I'm a Swiftie, but I'm not one of those that like has it memorized at the look.
Yeah.
I think the show is like April something. I have to look at it.
Okay.
I looked at it and saw that I couldn't afford it. I was like, never mind.
It's not happening anyways. So, but you never know. Maybe
tangent about that. I'm like talking about how I like.
Oh my god.
I always do that, and we did that a lot on our podcast, and I'm doing it here too. Like towards the end, I edited all, and I've never done and it was an hour of footage. And we had to turn it around in less than 48 hours because at the
end,
yeah, we talked about the opening day Eve party. Then it took hours to upload. And I was like, can anything else go wrong? I barely got any sleep. Like, and then as soon as I finally get it, and I'm like, okay, everything looks good. Like, whatever. If I had more time, I would have been able to work with the audio because I know there's a few clips where I'm like, the audio sounds horrible. But again, my first time, we all learn. It's a learning experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's doing better than I thought it would because the video ended up on YouTube at 1 a.m. So I'm like, considering it has like over 800 views, I'm like, I'm not complaining.
Incredible. Well, you know what? I listened this morning. You two were cracking me up. Like you guys are very funny and I loved it. I thought it was so good. I really love too how you guys said that you wanted it to be like touch on game day fashion. Absolutely love that. Yes. I feel like I've never heard of a podcast that's really focused on that. And I mean, I know it's focused on everything, but even just touching on that, I absolutely love it. But we got sidetracked again.
Yes. Like we're like combining everything right now.
Okay, anyways, so you didn't always live in Cincinnati.
No.
But you live there now, but you've been a fan forever. Am I right in saying that? Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much just, like I said, I always shout out my dad for that. Mm-hmm. I grew up playing sports, and my favorite one was softball.
Okay.
If you could see the connection. So outside of just growing up around baseball, watching it all the time with my dad, I was lucky to go to games. And mind you, it was 2 hours away where I grew up and like went to high school. And we were lucky to go like maybe one game a summer. And then there was a few times we went to two. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, which it still is. I was very grateful for it.
Definitely.
And as soon as I went to college, I had a normal freshman year. And the whole time I just thought, I have done nothing with my life. Like I'm literally like, I in college, like I was really shy growing up, and no one believes it now. But I was very shy. So I was a very introverted person that, I'm not going out. I was never gonna drive to a game alone or like meet random people. And then and then after COVID, whatever you consider, like after everything opened up is what I mean to say by that. I started to just go crazy and drive to Cincinnati like almost every week. And mind you, I'm like in college taking classes, as you do. And I may have skipped some, but I would drive the whole 3 hours to Cincinnati to catch a Reds game.
I love that.
And there's times where I would drive the 3 hours there, drive the 3 hours back, have class the next day at like 8 a.m. I'm getting home at like 3 in the morning after like a 6 o'clock game. And then there's times where I'm like, man, these prices are kind of nice. Like at my desk, like I'm gonna have to go to the game tonight. I'll just go. And same with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like I was driving to Cleveland or Cincinnati every other week. And now that I finally moved here in 2022, my first season here, I went to around 50 games.
Wow. And
then 2023, I went to 56 games, and 3 of those games were in St. Louis, which is like a 5-hour drive from Cincinnati. I'm planning, so like I've only been to like 6 ballparks, 7-ish, because technically I went to a Minnesota Twins game when I was really, really young.
Love that.
It was in their old ballpark. It's no longer a thing.
Yes.
You like that?
Yes, 100%. Totally.
Now I have to go to Target Field because that's their new ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm like, not gonna hit every single one. I've been to a White Sox game, but I've never been to a Cubs game. So that is where I'll be at the day. And then I'm going to Tampa Bay. I finessed it. I told my mom, I said, because we still go on like family vacations.
Yeah.
And I said, we should go when the Reds are there. And to my surprise, she was down. She was like, as long as I get to go to you and your dad can go to the games. I'm like, thank you, Mom. I don't even have to pay. Well, technically, Petersburg, before the Rays fans yell at me, but
is their field even nice in Tampa Bay? I have no idea. No? Okay. Controversial.
I've heard from opposing fans that's been there. They're kind of just like, it's weird that it's indoors, and I know I understand.
Okay.
An indoor like roof. I don't think it. Like I think it stays like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
Tampa, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm like pretty sure that it's just like indoors 100% of the time.
Well, you'll have to let me know how it is once you go.
Yeah, I tell people like, you're going there. I'm like, look, it's way cheaper to go to Tampa than going to like California because that is just more expensive. That's a longer flight. That time zone would just mess me up because 3 hours, they're 3 hours behind. Even though I just went to Arizona, but that's different. It sounds long.
Yeah, but you were in Arizona for a while, right? Because you went for spring training, right? Yeah.
There for a week.
Different situation. Yeah.
It's still expensive, but I would say California is definitely way more expensive from what I've heard.
I went to a Padres game against the Dodgers. So already prices were just sky high for that rivalry there. Probably one of the best days I've ever had, I will admit. It was an incredible field, incredible game, but I could imagine, like just in general, going to any ball game in California, you're paying a good amount of money.
I heard that Padres, their ballpark, I heard that's really, really nice, and I really want to go there.
It was stunning.
Giants, San Francisco.
Yes, I haven't been, but I've heard it's stunning.
I want to go there so bad. There's a reason that I'm not going, and I want to say it's because it's a week series and I can't get off. Like I PTO days for yesterday and today.
Oh, no
and then
way.
5, and I'm like, and then I have to save them throughout the year for baseball, of course.
Of course.
My birthday's on a Sunday this year, so that kind of sucks. But like, I don't have to.
Take the day off for it. Yeah, no, it's already off.
Like,
That's
also,
amazing. Okay. Well, I can't wait to see how the game is when you go in Florida. I want to know though about your Twitter account. So I saw that you made it in 2012. Is that correct?
yes, I did. So it originally, back to my little pop culture crossover lore, it originally started as One Direction, Justin Bieber, and I don't know if you know
I
this
love
name,
it.
Austin Mahone. Do you know that name?
Of
Really? Do you know?
course.
No one ever knows, but like if they know, it's like they
Of
know.
course.
I was like one of his biggest fans. And then I got really into like a bunch of other groups like 5 6 of Summer, Fifth Harmony, Little
hmm
Mix, the
hmm
whole, pretty much any mainstream artist. And I was always one of those girlies voting like for the VMAs and all that fun
Yes.
stuff. So I'm like waiting till midnight till the music video drops. Like that was me. Then I decided, well, okay, first of all, I've always been in sports. I always say this weirdly because it sounds like I'm like, I decided one day, oh, I'm going to tweet about sports. I've always done it. I
Okay.
remember the first time I did though, and mind you, I'm like with a Harry Styles like flower crown profile picture. Like you know what I'm talking about. I have that,
Yes.
and I'm
I know
thinking
exactly what you're talking about.
about Kyrie Irving or something, or I'm tweeting about the Cavs. I believe I was tweeting about the Cavs at the time because I just started
Okay.
watching them, and they're really
Okay.
bad at the time. It was right before LeBron came back, and
Okay.
remember these random like group of trolls, of course, guys, on Twitter. Just
hmm
they didn't even follow me, and they just I will never forget my first time tweeting like about sports, and it was like a smart thing. Like it wasn't anything. I don't remember what I
Yeah.
said. They were just so
Okay.
mean about it. Stick to tweeting about One Direction. I'm like,
Oh,
what? I said a small tweet too. It wasn't anything that went viral. It was literally like,
yeah.
how did you even? Probably because they searched like a name that I was tweeting
Yeah.
about. But I'm like, that's my
Uh-huh.
first experience with that. So then I kind of went, okay, well, I won't do that. And then years went by, and I started to go more Cavs games and more Reds games. And I'm like, this is what I'm more comfortable with. Like, I do love pop culture, but I'm like, who says I can't do both? So that's when
Yeah.
I started making TikToks. My TikTok, no one really knows that now, but they did at the time back in like 2020 and 2019 really started to take off for sports.
Okay.
No, everyone was on TikTok because no one had anything to do
Yeah,
because
for
we
sure.
shut down in 2020. So a lot of people are on there, and I was one of those lucky people that kind of gained a following from it. That kind of like trickled down to like my Twitter and my
I
Instagram
see.
because some
Okay.
people would talk about my tweets, and then after everything got back up and I started to get really busy, I kind of just decided, okay, let's focus on Twitter and Instagram. And I know we're going to talk about the which, yeah, so like I said, I've been dealing with those trolls and people that whatever that try to bring women down. But I think the best thing about Twitter and why I've kept going and haven't really shied away from it and have only just gotten more active and better on it,
hmm
it's the group of women I have met even
Yeah.
years back, that I have met so many cool people and have gotten so many cool opportunities because of that. And
Yeah.
it's so awesome that you can just find your own little community on Twitter. I feel like our
hmm
generation understands that the most because if I tell my mom like, where are you? You're meeting up with someone from Twitter? I'm like, Mom, they're not. I'm not saying every single person's good, but for the most part, it's been a really positive experience. And a lot of almost all my friends, like I said on my podcast, have been from Twitter. Like I met Liv from Twitter.
hmm
Anyone you've seen pictures with me at games, I likely met them from Twitter, which is really cool. Or TikTok.
I absolutely love that. Yeah, because I was going to mention that. I noticed on your podcast you did say that a ton of your friends are from friendships that you made online, which I think is so great. And I think that's just so important because Twitter, and my experience talking about sports is just on Twitter, and I'm also never going to call it X. I think that's so stupid. I will never
Oh
call
no,
it
I hate
X.
it. I
It is
honestly was
Twitter.
good at that. Like,
I do kind of want to look into it though. Like, is there any legality thing around calling it Twitter? But I think the website is still twitter.com. Like yeah, it's still
wait,
twitter.com. So it's
always called.
like, it was so silly. Anyways, whatever. Totally besides the point. Another tangent. We'll probably go on like 18 different other
Oh yeah,
ones. But
that's ADHD
I think
for
it's
me.
just so, oh my God, it's so bad.
Sorry.
But at the same time, I wouldn't change it. I just love how negative it can be, but how we're able to put a positive spin on it. And I mean, I think that's a perfect segue
Mhm.
to the tweet that started this all. I have a huge thank you to you for turning it into such a
Oh
positive
yeah.
thing, but I think we do need to give credit where credit is due, and I think we need to thank, I think his name was Starbucks Lover 69. Was that right?
Actually,
Do we
I
know?
actually found the tweet. I can directly give you. It's Starbucks. No,
Starbucks
Starbucks.
suck. Oh. Oh,
Brad.
sorry. I thought he loved Starbucks.
No,
Sad.
Starbucks hater. Valid, but his name is Brad, and at the time he had a profile picture where it's like a mirror pic, and he was like this. No, and I can directly quote the tweet for everybody
Please do. Please do.
listening. All right, so
All
Brad
right.
obviously drops some bars right here. He said, "Girls who look like this bars and claims they," and I'm reading it how he typed. I'm not this
Yes.
grammatical idiot, okay?
Please do.
Girls who look like this and claims they are into sports. Period. No, they are here to gain followers from men who are desperate and want easy clout. Period. Same with all the other Leaf women. Hashtag leaves forever. Tag the Maple Leaves. LMAFO. That's wrong. Where it's there, but like he's use whatever they are. Wherever they are men, they are women like this. Period. And then he used a picture of me at my first Blue Jackets game where I'm like, I look so cute, like I slayed.
No.
And it was the time they
Incredible
lost.
photo.
Also, let's go back to this part right here where he says hashtag Leafs forever and calls me a Leaf woman. And I am very, 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 very clearly in a Blue Jacket sweater.
I was gonna say, like,
it's Blue Jackets.
you're not a Maple Leafs fan.
How are you making this point while getting the team I'm rooting for wrong? Like you're saying women don't know anything, but like you can clearly see its logo. You can see jackets.com or something in the back. Like you can tell that I'm in it. Like I am very clearly a Blue Jackets fan. Like
That's what I was gonna say. Like, looking at this, I think they play at like Scotiabank Arena, I don't know, in Toronto, and I was like, this is not a Leafs game. Like, what?
I can even drop
Like, what is going on here? Okay, so thank you for that dramatic reading. So, what was your initial thought when you first saw that tweet?
I don't even remember how I first saw it. I don't know if somebody sent it to me or just like happened to.
Oh, yeah, because he didn't even tag you either, which is the funniest part. He like saved your photo, didn't even quote the tweet, nothing like that. Just saved saved your photo into his phone, and then tweets it. So strange.
Now I remember how I saw it. Is he initially replied with some really just I just know it was like really out of pocket, gross, like mean stuff under one of my tweets about jackets. And then I went to his page and I saw the tweet. So then I quoted the tweet. Sometimes I go back and forth with people, but I've tried to cut that out, So I replied with the obvious concern of his whole entire, whatever you want to call it, art. I guess you can call that tweet art, like,
it's a masterpiece.
He's showcasing. I'm like, not this masterpiece. Thank you. Whatever this masterpiece of a tweet is, and I quoted it, and I said, "So you saved my photo," and that got like I never did it to turn into what that got like over 10,000 likes. My quote tweet to him.
Wow.
And the quote tweet like directed people to him and the reply and flame him. And then a few people started like copying and pasting what he said and then just dropping their selfies. And then the whole trend started by me getting flamed by some dude. Well, not really flamed, but some dude dragging me, and people came together, both men and women, just in his replies. And I ended up like on a Canadian news thing too, like just.
Oh, no way! I really did love, like, it came across my timeline. Is that what you even call it on Twitter anymore? Timeline? My feed, whatever. Yeah. And I tweet about the Minnesota Vikings, and the women on the Minnesota Vikings Twitter community are just so funny, hilarious, kind, nice. I've met so many incredible people, like you've said. The connections that I've made from Twitter have been incredible. And all of a sudden I see quite a few of these women with this, like, posting incredible photos of themselves, and then but being like women like who look like this or just looking for clout from desperate men. And I was like, what are these people going on about? Like, what is this?
And they're like, what is this?
And I'm like, what? So then I trace it back to you. I see it. I'm like, that is hands down the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Like, taking something that this idiot man says and turning it into something so funny. Did he ever respond to you, say anything to you? Like, was there ever any back and forth after this, or no?
No, he didn't say. No, I didn't see anything because I definitely checked like a few times, but after a while, like, no, I think his notifications were probably crazy. I mean,
no, I can't even imagine.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, I did go back and look at the tweet, but I didn't look at his Twitter. Like, I don't know if he's retired, if he's still tweeting his thoughts on women from other sports fandoms. I don't know, but I'm probably not going to check.
No, I wouldn't either. I definitely haven't blocked.
So did you expect this to turn into this?
I didn't expect anything at all. Like I said, like that tweet, I was just kind of like, this is like a witty, like funny reply. But like, I honestly just laugh it off. Everyone just kind of banded together.
Yeah, to this day, I don't think I've seen Twitter come together like that. That's kind of the idea how this podcast came to be. I remember I tweeted after that day, I tried to follow every single person who was jumping on the trend, posting their photos, got so many people that I was able to follow of different sports fandoms that I wouldn't really have come across normally. And just seeing all of their takes, like, it was so great. Seeing all their tweets, they were all so funny, so kind. I was like, I wish Twitter could be like this all the time, because as positive as it is, unfortunately, it's not always like that, of people, especially women, just banding together and being like, men can be so stupid sometimes and can say the most out-of-pocket, ignorant things, but let's just come together and laugh at them instead of getting upset about it. And I was like, man, I wish I could just have a place where women can do that all the time. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to make a podcast. I think my exact wording, something was like, I'm going to make a podcast where every week I interview women who tweet about sports and talk about how fun it is for men to just bag on us for just simply having an opinion, or in your case, simply standing on the stairs in front of the rink going,
yeah,
and just getting begged on. Like, nothing. You did nothing. And people just want to hate. Men just want to hate.
They do. And I had a few people even, that it wasn't just him, like, after that, even, like, people were like, I hate when, bitches do this shit. You're, like, blocking the view. First of all, it was between periods. Second of all, it was, like, a little, like, platform where you're, like, in the concourse where the seats were, like, leveled. So, like, a lot of people, it's like a perfect photo spot for anyone. So I put it in anyone's way. Trust me, I'm very aware of other people, and I try not to be in their way. If I'm going to take a picture at a game, it is almost always before I get there early or after. I'm not one of those people taking a picture when, like, Will Benson is up the bat, and it's like a 3-2 count, and we're down by 1 run with 2 runners on base in the 9th inning. Like, I'm not standing there.
You're watching the game because that's an incredible moment.
People are like, there's a game behind you. Yeah, the warm-up. Dancing, like, when is there to watch? I'm just everyone else's. The people that say that kind of stuff, and I'm like, bro, I'm clearly taking it either during halftime, like, of a basketball game, or, like, between periods at a hockey game. Like, well, I'm sure there are people that do stand up. And that's people who clearly don't care about sports, and men or women. Like, if you're getting up and blocking someone's view to try to get a selfie, probably not the best look or idea. I'm not going to hate. It's like, you can't even take pictures or, like, dress up too much. It's the players. I can assure you I'm not. If I was going to like a team because the players were hot, I can assure you the teams that I like would not be on my radar. No. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I'm not attracted to.
I touched on this on the first episode, and I mean, a little bit like what we just said. I love to dress up. I love to look cute. I love to take a good photo. I love to curate my outfits for a specific event, whatever. I like to put thought into it. I like to have options, and I like to go shopping, and I like to pick things out according for where I'm going, whatever. But I also love the Minnesota Vikings. I love watching sports. I love getting involved in what's going on. Like I love being knowledgeable because it's something that I'm truly passionate about. And the NFL and the Minnesota Vikings, I'm truly passionate about it, but I'm also truly passionate about looking cute and documenting that. And it's like, why can't we do both? And I really love that you're normalizing it, that women in general now are normalizing it a little bit more. And I mean, women, I think, have been doing it forever, but now kind of having this attitude of like, okay, men are honestly probably going to shit on us for doing that no matter what. But now it's like, okay, and like, okay, like what are you going to do about it? You're not going to ruin my mood. I'm not going to stop doing it because I might get some angry tweets about it. I'm just going to live my life.
I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, keep the angry tweets going. I get paid for engagement, man. Like that's like, I get, sometimes I do what is it, tweet bait. Like I post things that I know are gonna get high engagement. And I may not agree with them. Back to the conversation though, before I get off on another tangent. Be one I feel like I was more of like a tomboy. I wouldn't say like very tomboy, but I lean growing up more of like I don't want to wear dresses. I don't want to be girly. I'm never going to wear heels. As I got older, I started to enjoy that kind of stuff more. I used to really be, and I'll like fully admit it because I'm a self-aware person. I used to be one of those girls that would go to the games. And if I saw girls that were in that kind of stuff, like, why are you wearing heels to a baseball game? Like, I would have the same like misogynistic mindset because that's kind of, I wasn't taught that or anything directly by my parents or anything, but like, it's a societal thing, I feel like. When just be that judgmental. I'm like, maybe now I'm just like, I love your outfit. Like, that's so cute. Like, I love the bringing, fashion into game day wear. And I love that more women are getting involved in, creating that kind of stuff. I mean, we've seen like Taylor Swift wear custom made stuff. Like, that's awesome. And you got to support these women too. I follow so many of those custom made sports gear accounts on Instagram. And one time I saw these pants, I'm like, I want Reds, like a Reds version of this. And it was worth every dollar. Like, I get so many compliments on it.
Oh, I love that.
So that's my favorite thing is I have, little skirts to go with my jerseys. I love a dress and jersey combo. Vouch that to any lady out there. Also, there's also no problem with just wearing shorts and a jersey. I want to make that.
Totally.
I think that's great. You wear what you're comfortable in, but don't shame other people who, want to dress as girly as they want. Like, I think the biggest thing I did as I decided, like, I can do both. I can roll up to a game and just like baggy jeans and a red shirt, or I can come in a dress and a jersey with cowgirl boots. Like, I can do it all with my little bows, which I've been really picking up on. I love bows now. I think it just, my hair, it's cute. It's very feminine, but there's no problem with not going the feminine route. Let's all just support each other. Like, that thing is, I'm such a hater of that kind of stuff. But now I'm like, this is really fun. Like, you can like sports and also be extremely feminine, and you can like sports and not be extremely feminine. It's totally fine either way.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said about being self-aware and maybe being a little bit of a hater before, but it's like that is what society has taught us. Society for the longest time. And I mean, I'm not too sure if you're familiar with my history on Twitter, but I didn't have my face on Twitter for the longest time. I didn't have my name on Twitter. I wasn't necessarily trying to be a man on Twitter. It's not that. I just wasn't emphasizing that I was a woman on Twitter for a very long time because society has kind of taught us that women maybe don't have the same opinion on sports, or that's not their place. And the fact that you're saying, seeing those feminine women in heels or looking super cute with the bows in their hair, for a long time you were like, no, that's not what sports are for. I love that we're changing that. I love that we're more open to that now, to being ourselves. But I also love, like you said, it's like, if you don't want to do that, then don't. Just do whatever you want to do. Show up. That's like the beauty of sports. It's for everybody. It's all of the games that people enjoy. People enjoy them for a reason. There's millions of sports viewers because sports are fun. And that's all it comes down to. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter what you wear. Just show up, just have fun, be respectful, don't get in anyone's way, like you said. Don't be an asshole. And that's it. That's it really should just be that simple. Unfortunately, it's not.
So, like I've mentioned, as I grew up like a little fangirl, and we always got shamed for that kind of stuff. And it was oftentimes by men who don't realize they're doing the same thing for their sports teams. I'm like, no, and there's nothing against it. So when I use this as an example, I'm not against this. I'm not one of those people who says, oh, grown men shouldn't wear players' jerseys. Like, that's totally fine. Like, I have nothing against it personally. I don't care. I know some people have feelings about it. But I want to use this as an example because how is you, as a grown man, wearing somebody else's name on your jersey different than me in a Taylor Swift concert t-shirt? Like, you're still supporting something you're passionate about. So, example, if you're a guy who's a Bengals fan, you have all this Bengals merch, you pay all this money to go to Paycor Stadium and watch the Bengals, you tailgate, you invest in this. We are investing in the same way on the complete opposite, spectrum of it, I guess. Like, yeah, you may see us, we're just more emotional beings. So yeah, we cry, we scream, we get excited, we scream the lyrics, just like you're in the crowd at a Bengals game, screaming and stumbling down the stairs because you're drunk. Like, and I want to touch on that on my podcast, like, and actually do like research. And I've seen these kind of tweets because I have a lot of friends that I also met on Twitter during my fangirl little era, which is kind of still in, but
yeah,
I'm still keeping in touch with those people who also kind of tweet about sports more, which is really cool. And they have gotten the same thing where it's like, okay, so now that we like sports, you're still bashing us. Now you're uncomfortable that we're in your, and that's something that I hate because it's like, no matter what we do, we can't win in some of these people. And the thing is, most people, like, honestly, in person, don't care. They'll be like, that's awesome. She likes sports, cool. Like, they're not like the people on Twitter. Like, I have to realize that. But people also have to realize that the people on Twitter are hiding their faces and stuff. Like, they're still people. They still have these actual thoughts. Just using it as a cop-out on Twitter to, hide. Like, it's just, we can never win. And we think it's like, why do we always have to be quizzed and asked about certain things? Why can't we just, and whether it's very passionately, whether it's casually, because not every man I know also enjoys sports. I've had many men and women say, you're so into it, you're a bigger fan than me. Like, I don't know anyone doing that. Having a party, like a themed party, spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That's the awesome thing about being a woman, because like, I don't see guys doing that. I mean, I'm not saying guys don't throw parties. Throw parties and have beer and a few chips. I had the whole spread. Like,
your party looked amazing. So good. And you know what? I just think that is so true. It's women can be very passionate about things, go about things differently. And the thought, the love, the emotion that you put into that party, just because it's something truly that you love, that should be celebrated. The amount of, work that you put into, like, the creator who made those pants, like, why is that not celebrated? It should be, and we are going to celebrate it now. On this podcast, every single time that I have somebody on, it's going to be a celebration of the love that we have for sports in a very feminine way that only women can bring to the table.
Yeah. I'm like, it's fun. We show our passion with things very emotionally. Most of us, I can't speak for everybody, but it's like, if I'm going to like a team and I'm going to live right here, even if I didn't live right here, I'm still throwing that party. And that's the thing, is I can, get these custom pants. I can spend all this money on this team. I can have parties. I can travel to St. Louis. I can travel to Chicago. But at the end of the day, there's still people who think, oh, she's just doing it for clout. I'm doing it for clout?
Yes. Or for men.
I'm spending way more money than y'all ever had on a single day. No, I'm we can't win. It doesn't even matter. So there's no point in trying to please these people because it's like, I'm going to have my extra ass party every year. Hell, I might have a few more during the season. Like, it's fun. I'm very passionate about it. I'm going to go 110% when I'm passionate about something. I've never seen it as a gender thing. And I've never been intimidated either by other women that also like sports. Because, people like that. And that's the thing is I'm pretty secure with that. And then you have men who, any man that came up here for my party, they had a hell of a time. And not a single one of them has ever questioned me or quizzed me. They come to me for Reds questions or any of my other teams or, any information to do with them because they know I'm legit. But it doesn't it's just because they're secure people. The insecure ones are the ones that have an issue with women stepping in their space. Also, back to the point of female fan, there's so much research that proves that when a majority of women support a product, any form of entertainment, I mean, look at Taylor Swift, for example, it's bound to be successful. That's why NFL will be, and NBA, I mean, obviously, I would say MLB, a lot of what they're doing lately on social media, especially TikTok, they're trying to cater more to a younger, but also a more female-dominated audience. They're trying to bring that in because it's proven time after time that when women invest in something in big groups, that is going to be even more successful. When people were complaining about Taylor being on the screen so much, and I will admit, I was like, okay, you guys, maybe once or twice. But the thing is there's been charts saying that she was only shown 1% the time out of all these games and all the hours. And I don't even know if it was 1%. But genius marketing by the NFL.
Did you see that one Super Bowl commercial? I don't know who put it on, but the one of a dad wanting to watch with his daughter and then got her a jersey because she's a huge Taylor Swift fan. What company put that on? Do you know?
I think it's Cetaphil. Yeah, it is. And I just looked it up. It's
okay. I knew it was. Okay, I'm gonna need to watch the commercial again to see how they grouped in their product. But I just love that. And it's why there were so many people who've started to watch the NFL because of Taylor Swift. And what's wrong with that? I know so many men, and I want to do a whole episode on this. Maybe I'll have you back on for it. But the amount of men that were angry about that, how did it personally affect them? It didn't. That these little girls were now watching with their fathers. Where in what world is that a negative thing? If anything, it just added more money into the NFL to have more money on these teams' pockets to pay their favorite players, and they're mad about that. I don't quite get it.
She got Cincinnati in general. When she was here for 2 nights, she boosted our economy. Just Cincinnati. That's crazy. And the Bengals also benefit from that. So I'm Taylor Swift for paying Joe Burrow's contract extension or what.
There you go. I will do a whole episode on that though. I am very interested in that and just why men were so triggered by it, really. Let's hear it.
Because one, she's a woman. Two, she also doesn't take shit from men. I can't name very many mainstream or any really popular songs, country, pop, whatever it is, that isn't talking about love or breakups. When Taylor did people, it's a problem, but when men do it, it's not a problem. When John Mayer consistently dates people way, way, way younger than him, it's not a problem. Back to the selfie conversation, she's not taking away from the game. They're not showing her when they're in the middle of a play. They're showing her at timeouts, at halftime. You're not missing anything. And when they show, it's 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 to 5 seconds on average.
Yeah.
At first, they were showing her quite a lot and probably a little longer than that. But it really wasn't that big of a deal. And it's also you guys complain about women not being in the sports. And even outside of the Taylor Swift thing, I've had that so many times where guys I see complain about their girlfriend not being in the sports, but as soon as they meet a girl that is, they question them or they bash them or they say you're in it for reasons or you don't know what you're talking about or you're just watching for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Now it's you can't have both. You have to pick one. What is it? You want a woman? You guys are intimidated. Not all of them, but it's the insecure guys who are man, I wish my girlfriend would have watched football with me on Sundays or whatever. And then when they try, it's you bash them or shame them or question them constantly. Why can't somebody just casually enjoy something, first of all? I'm like, you can't have both.
And you know what? I liked what you said about the secure men, because I mentioned this. I feel like I almost have to do like a disclaimer every single episode. There's a lot of men in my life that I've met on the Twitter community or just about sports in general who are great people and very secure in themselves and absolutely love how knowledgeable I am on football. And that's great. Like, I can have a great back and forth with them. The amount of men that have reached out to me about this podcast idea that have said, like, wow, this is so great. I'm learning a lot. Like, I love listening. Thank you. This is such an important topic. Though, like, those men exist. I'm not saying that they don't exist. The issue is that not every man is like that, and society still is not like that. It is the societal norm to shit on women
anything.
For liking sports, being passionate on sports, and like for literally for breathing. And actually, that's something with Taylor Swift, how you're like, I know. I really do think there's a society in general. And again, I need to set a preface. I'm not saying every single man is like this, but society in general teaches the kids as they grow up, the men who are adults, that women, when a woman is successful, they should be angry about it. They should not be happy. When a woman is happy, they should shut that down, well. Which is crazy.
It's like
and very sad.
All the time. I mean, the man, her song was literally pretty much about that. It's like, you can't be mad if you're angry, you're a bitch. But if a man's mad, then he's getting stuff done. Like, he has to be mad, and I'm just like, yeah, bro, we're mad because of y'all.
Literally. Yeah, definitely, 100%. And I said this on the last episode. I had Sal Spice on here, and we were just talking about, like, you know what, wouldn't it be nice if men just stopped, like, if they just didn't? And I was like, well, you know what, I guess I would have no need for a podcast then, no need for men to piss me off, which I would be completely content. I'll never run out of content for this, for this podcast, which is, I guess, a good thing for me, but also terrible for society.
It's so, yeah.
So before we get sidetracked 8 more times, okay, this is a question that I plan to ask every single guest on here. So tell me about a time that someone, and when I say someone, I imagine that it was a man who asked you this question, but tell me about a time that somebody has asked you to name one player.
I would say all pretty much on Twitter. I usually try to ignore it, but there's been times where people ask me to name 5 players. I remember one time with the Cavs they did, and nothing bothers me more than when people question my Cleveland Cavaliers or Cincinnati Reds fandom, because those are my 2 teams that I absolutely adore and I love them. 2 different cities. We don't have an NBA team, okay? So, like, I grew up watching them, so I mean that's kind of where that comes from. But I remember somebody asked me to name this. You can't even name the starting 5, and I swear to God, I didn't Google it. I know that, and I'm also like, I named the people that were injured, and I said the thing with the Cavs is their rotation. They get injured a lot. I feel like my teams that I like, they're constantly injured. Mm-hmm. I mean, they are. So I even put that. I'm like, well, usually it's just, well, the last few games, switching up who's playing like center or whatever, and so I named those 5. I named the current starting 5. I named like every single bench player. I mean, and the person, I'm pretty sure they blocked me because I got mad. Or that's the thing is you, especially on Twitter, it's like you answer that, because I've had times where I've answered that, no problem, and they're like, well, you obviously Googled that.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't win. It doesn't matter. I'm like, why are you asking? You can't prove that I did, and you can't prove that I didn't. So why are you asking? I've had people ask me just around, like at bars before. It's like, oh, you're wearing a Cavs jersey. Like, who's your favorite player? Now, don't just say LeBron. I'm like, well, first of all, he's not on the team anymore. I would say my favorite Cavs is Darius Garland, but if I said that, then it's like, that's too basic. I'm like, well, he's my favorite player. I used to say Kevin Love when on the team, or like, and then I say that, and they're like, he sucks. I'm like, well, I don't just pick the best. I pick who if I like their game, or maybe I like who they are off the court, which was kind of more for, Kevin Love fandom. I really, he spoke up for mental health and everything, and I'm very passionate about that too. So I really appreciated him for that and using his platform for good. So that's why he really resonated with me. And I would explain that to people, and they're like, oh, wow, you actually know that? I'm like, actually, I actually know these players. I actually know a Reds player. Yeah, I go to almost 60 games. It's my whole life. I have to schedule.
Literally.
My family doesn't see me for weeks.
I love that. No, the word actually, like, wow, you actually know what you're talking about. Yeah. I wish I didn't. I wish I knew nothing about the Minnesota Vikings. My life, before I knew everything that I know about the Minnesota Vikings, was so much better. I was so much more at peace. I wish this wasn't my life. But alas, here we are. Well, Jules, I absolutely loved this conversation. This was everything. I am so glad that Starbucks Suck 6ix9ine decided to take his little Twitter fingers and type away and try to come for you. And I'm so glad that we're here right now.
Yeah. Me too. I get so many followers from that. You know, because it gave me so much clout. I'm like, I gained thousands. And I was like, specifically women back. I followed so many like really cool women. And it was so overwhelming.
Incredible.
It was awesome. It was so
well, it's because you were obviously looking for clout, so I'm so glad that
notifications, like you gave me exactly what I needed. Like, yes, I like the Columbus Blue Jackets. One of, if not the worst two for clout. That's what everyone said. She likes Blue Jackets. Man, totally. Like, come on.
That is incredible. Well, I wish you and Liv to the best of luck with your podcast. I can't wait to continue listening. It was so funny, like absolutely hilarious. So I'm super excited to listen to that. Yeah, keep going. Like it was so good. I'm so glad that we met. And you going to a game?
I actually, yeah. So my alma mater, Bowling Green, is actually playing down here against Xavier University, which is in Cincinnati. Which I learned where Xavier was like 3 years ago. I was like, wait. I knew they were in Ohio. I didn't know like where. I didn't know they were literally 5 minutes away from like UC. So I had no idea.
Good. I hope you have the best time. And yeah, what day is it today? Friday? Well, I guess it's Easter weekend too. So I hope you have a nice, relaxing weekend. And yeah, thank you so much. All right, everyone. That is it for episode 3 of the Name One Player podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation that Jules and I had. As much as I enjoyed that conversation, that was a blast. I mean, we talked about everything that I love. One Direction, sports, and Taylor Swift. Like, I don't need to make any more episodes now. I'm done. Like, we've peaked. Thank you so much, Jules, for coming on. Thank you so much for taking a really weird, bizarre situation and turning it into something so positive and turning it into something that ultimately inspired this. And again, special shout out to Starbucks Suck 6ix9ine because we wouldn't be here without you either. I hope that everybody has a great Easter weekend. It's currently Friday. I'm gonna edit this a little bit and then I'm going out with some friends and then I have tomorrow off. I do not have many days off from now until, gosh, like April 18th. So again, talking about my availability, talking about my work-life balance, it's gonna be a struggle and I'm gonna do my very darned bestest to stay on top of my organization and, really figure out the times of the guests, all the plans that I have for the next couple episodes. It's such a blessing for me that I do genuinely love doing this. Like, it doesn't feel like work. Like, I'll be exhausted after a day, but I truly want to interview all of these incredible women and have these wonderful conversations that I'm having. Like, I just feel so happy, really, after these. I may struggle a little bit, but we're gonna get through it because I love it. And that's really what it's all about, which is a fun thing. It's that this is just something that I truly love. And thank you, everyone who is listening. Thank you again, like I said in the beginning. Give me all your feedback, please, truly. Your positive and your negative. I want to hear it. Truly, I do. I hope everyone has a wonderful Easter weekend. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. If you don't, I hope you at least just get to relax. I hope you have at least a day off on this long weekend. And if you don't, I hope you get some chocolate or something. Like a cream egg, a mini egg, if you're into those. I hope that you eat lots of them if you are into them. I saw at this coffee shop near my house that they have this like little mini egg cake. So I might go get that. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna go get that. Not that I need another coffee at this time, but I think I'm gonna get that. Maybe a decaf and a nice little mini egg cake. Because I deserve it, okay? Sun's out and it's almost Easter. So eat the mini egg cakes. All right, well, that's it for episode 3. Thank you again. This has been so fun, and I can't wait to get this edited and uploaded and to hear all of your thoughts. All right, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Bye.